To help drive home the ideas I've discussed, here are some simple formulas of what contingencies to use to achieve specific results. These are not the only ways to solve these problems, but they are simple, reliable, and very effective. How to make players play hard. Translated into the language we've been using, how do we make players maintain a high, consistent rate of activity? Looking at our 4 basic schedules, the answer is a variable ratio schedule, one where each response has a chance of producing a reward. Activity level is a function of how soon the participant expects a reward to occur. The more certain they are that something good or interesting will happen, the harder they'll play. When the player knows the reward is a long way off, such as when the player has just leveled and needs thousands of points before they can do it again, motivation is low, and so is player activity. How to make players play forever. The short answer is to make sure that there is always a reason for the player to be playing. The variable schedules I discussed produce a constant probability of reward, and thus the player always has a reason to do the next thing. What a game designer also wants from players is a lot of behavioral momentum, a tendency to keep doing what they're doing even during the parts where there isn't an immediate reward. One schedule that produces a lot of momentum is the avoidance schedule, where the player works to prevent bad things from happening. Even when there's nothing going on, the player can achieve something positive by postponing a negative consequence. Activity level is a function of how soon the participant expects a reward to occur. The more certain they are that something good or interesting will happen soon, the harder they'll play. How to make players quit. In other words, under what circumstances do players stop playing, and how can you avoid them? I've discussed 2 main conditions under which players stop playing. The first is pausing, where their motivation to do the next thing is low. Motivation is relative. The desire to play your game is always being measured against other activities. While they may have a high overall motivation to play your game, during play they're comparing their motivation to do the very next thing in the game to all the other next things they could be doing. If they've just gone up a level and know that they have an hour to play before anything interesting happens, their motivation will be low relative to all the other activities they could be doing. One way around this problem is to have multiple activities possible at any given time. This means that even if killing monsters becomes unrewarding, there are other activities within the game that can take up the slack. If monsters are unprofitable, exploration may be better. The player could take some time to improve their equipment or to practice a new tactic. Note that this is the same phenomenon that led to quitting before, a drop in motivation in the main activity, raising the motivation of lesser activities. In this case, the lesser activities are also part of the game, redirecting their attention within the game and maintaining a high level of play, end quote. In short, what these 2 articles are telling us is that the game designers are taking these games very seriously, and those who think that these techniques of manipulation are only being employed to keep people playing video games would be best served to contemplate how these very same behavioral manipulations can and are being incorporated into your daily lives. This is James Corbett of CorbettReport.com in Western Japan, reporting for What You've Been Missing.
Imagine when the game designers get a hold of all this garbage, the gas points and the shopping points and your coffee points and your airline points, all these points and points and points. Imagine when they're all designed and when they can be sensed and these things start to come together a little bit. Because sensors are what's happening now. That's what's changing things. And technology keeps getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and there's going to be sensors everywhere detecting so many things in your life. And these things are going to be able to be used for gameplay. We're moving on a road towards disposable technology. If anyone here ever bought a Furby, right? The Furby costs like $20, $30. It has more technology in it than they used to put a man on the moon. And many people have now thrown out their Furbies because it's kind of dumb and they throw it out. It's disposable technology. We're, before too long, going to get to the point where every soda can, every cereal box is going to be able to have a CPU, a screen, and a camera on board it, and a Wi-Fi connector so that it can be connected to the internet. And what will that world be like? Well, I think it'll be like this. You'll get up in the morning to brush your teeth, and the toothbrush can sense that you're brushing your teeth, and so, hey, good job for you. 10 points for brushing your teeth. And it can measure how long, and you're supposed to brush them for 3 minutes, and you did. Good job, you brushed your teeth for 3 minutes. And so you get a bonus for that. And hey, you brushed your teeth every day this week, another bonus. And who cares? The toothpaste company, the toothbrush company, the more you brush, the more toothpaste you use, they have a vested financial interest.
God damn, are we stupid? And not getting any smarter. That's the scariest thing about life, is that dumb people are outbreeding smart people at a fucking staggering pace. And nobody ever even talks about it. But we all kind of know it's happening. And the real problem is, most of us are dumb. We don't want to admit it. But really, how many of us are really smart? Look, I know I'm stupid. I know I'm stupid, but yet I'm smarter than almost everybody I meet. And the real problem with dumb people is they don't even know they're dumb. That's a part of being dumb. You're not aware. There should be a way to tell, like a home pregnancy test type thing. Some shit you take it home and you lick it and you go, oh, I'm a fucking idiot. Shit! What the fuck is this? It's broken. Give me another one. Dudes would never believe it. Idiots would be fucking boxes stacked to the ceiling. Liar! Cocksucker! No! The real problem is, most of us are idiots. We just like to think we're not idiots because we use a bunch of shit that smart people have figured out. But how many of us understand any of that shit? Think about the technological level that this world operates on. How many of us really understand that? What if everybody out there died and we had to take over the world? How well you think we'd do? Yeah, terrific. We would do awesome. Yeah. Does anybody know how any of this shit works? Why is that loud? Any idea? I've been a comedian for 16 fucking years. I have no idea what's in there. I don't know, some loud shit? I don't know. What makes that bright? Bright shit? I don't know. Think about all the stuff you need to run your life. Computers and Palm Pilots and cell phones. How many of you know how to make any of that shit? I mean, if I left you alone in the woods with a hatchet, how long before you could send me an email? We are not smart. We buy shit from smart people. I don't have a camera on my phone because I'm smart. If you left me on an island for a fucking million years, I could never figure out how to put a camera in a phone. I don't even know what a camera is. I know I press a button and a picture shows up. What happens between me pressing that button and the picture showing up is anybody's fucking guess. There might be leprechauns and spray paints, fucking gremlins up the ass. All I know is megapixel. You gotta say that to get the good shit. I don't even know what a megapixel is. It's like a noise you make with your mouth. Megapixel. Oh, you're clever. You are clever.
You know, I wanted to mention this Cornell University study that we came across recently. A friend of mine, Richard Grove, who actually met the doctor in Connecticut who does the time travel stuff. But Cornell's study is called "Why People Fail to Recognize Their Own Incompetence," and it goes into exactly what you're saying. And you know, it's like in some of your skits, and I think you and I have talked about this in the past, but you know, you recognize how much you really don't know. And it's knowing that, it's knowing your own incompetence that enables you to better yourself, whereas incompetent people don't even recognize their incompetence.
Yeah, I talked about that in one of my jokes, one of my bits about dumb people outbreeding smart people, is that part of the problem with being dumb is you don't know you're dumb. You're not aware. I mean, dumb people have no idea. They're dumb.
Well, let me ask you this. Why do you make fun of dumb people, and then why do they laugh when you do?
I guess because they are dumb, or because they hope that you're not talking about them. You know, I mean, there's I don't know. There's a broad spectrum of human thinking. What doors have you opened? What paths have you gone down? And a lot of what's stupid, in quotes, is really just someone who hasn't gone anywhere in their mind. But the real problem is the average person doesn't go down a lot of roads. They don't have a lot of interesting people in their life. They don't have a lot of open-minded conversation. They don't have a shaman in their life. They don't have a person to look up to. For real, right? I mean, how important is that?
You know, I think what is missing, though, is a systematic method of critical thinking to derive certainty with any information coming in via the five senses. I think that is the main issue that most people are missing.
That is absolutely true. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, most people, that the idea is very alien. What you just said to them, wait a minute, you have a method for critical thinking? Like, what? You have an ethic? You have a whole series of steps that you take in your own mind? Yeah, I mean, for most people, it's a lack of people like you around them that are going to open these doors and have these conversations with them. This guy can influence your mind with his experiences, with his expression, and that'll set you down a path. And that's really what we're missing, man. What we're missing in life, in this culture, is shaman. We're missing someone who's been there, done that, and can guide you with no ego. So someone who's not just trying to do this for personal gain or for ego gratification, but someone whose purpose in this life is to guide people towards the spiritual, guide people towards the pure, towards the divine, guide people in the right way. There's no role like that in our society. There is no shaman in our culture.
If you give people the skills of critical thinking, give them the knowledge of grammar, logic, and rhetoric, then they can't be fooled once they come down, and any information that comes in via their five senses, they'll be more equipped to deal with that information as it's coming in. And then when they go out to describe their experience to others, obviously they'll be more effective in describing it as well. They got a clock going on the television screen exactly when they're going to start murdering people on the other side of the planet.
Yeah, fucking crazy. The internet was there. This shouldn't have been taking place. Like, we have the access to information now. Why are people willing to buy this ridiculous story? You know, that of course turned out to be bullshit. Of course there was no weapons of mass destruction. Of course, you know, billions and billions of dollars have been, you know, how do you say, misplaced, you know, in this venture. So we know for sure that many people have profited off this war. You know, the whole thing is very, very shocking.
I'd like to thank the fine people at Microsoft for creating something which provides a perfect background through which I can illustrate their goal, which is a Skinner box in everyone's hand, controlling every consumer remotely, hypnotizing the masses into their own destruction. Witchcraft, dark shamanism. You are being gamed. It doesn't have to be this way.
Let's review how the noble lies used to perpetrate a ruse, how the cunning attempts have gone on unchecked. You might even note that the repetition of the myths are necessary to make you believe things which are not true and misdirect you from the facts.
In the heart of this great city, we saw tragedy arrive on a quiet morning. September the 11th. September the 11th. September the 11th.
September 11th. September 11th. September 11th. September 11th. September 11th. September 11th.
September 11th, September 11th.
September 11th, September 11th.
September 11th, September 11th. September 11th, September 11th.
September 11th, September 11th, September 11th. September 11th, September 11th, September 11th. September 11th, September 11, 2001. War and danger.
Continuing danger.
Hour of danger.
Very, very dangerous world.
A grave new threat.
Horrific acts of atrocities.
Murderous regimes
dedicating to killing us.
Tyranny and terror.
Slaughtered thousands.
Weapons of mass destruction.
Weapons of mass destruction.
Weapons programs.
The deadliest of weapons.
Terrible weapons.
Nuclear weapons.
Nuclear weapons.
poison gas,
torture chambers,
mass graves,
deadly technologies,
radical ideology of hate,
terror of threats,
terror,
terror,
war on terrorism,
war against terrorism,
global war on terror,
global terrorism, 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 global terrorism,
terrorism, terrorism,
terrorism,
terrorism, terrorism, terrorism, terrorism, terrorism, terrorism.
the evil terrorists.